On today's season preview, part 8.
The questions keep coming, such as, which player is under the most pressure?
Is this the year the Spurs finally drop off? Will the Wolves make the playoffs? What is your favorite bad team?
And in Crossfire, we debate which superstar do you trust most in the clutch?
The Starters 82 Burning Questions starts now!
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to part 8 of the Starters NBA season preview. Shout out to everyone joining us live right now on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube. We're very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tas Melis.
The penultimate preview, what a word.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Lele.
Looking like a banker today. And last, certainly not least,
Silky.
it's the bearded one. It's Trey Kirby.
Hey,
Yo! All right, we are continuing to answer the 82 burning questions about the upcoming NBA season. If you missed any of our first 7 parts of this 9-part season preview series, you got a whole bunch of starter shows to watch on YouTube. So hurry up and catch up. But we got 9 more questions here today. We get to question 65 overall. We asked you to play along on Twitter, hashtag the starters. Guys, this is a good one. Question 65, which player is under the most pressure?
I think Russell Westbrook has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He doesn't want stars leaving him again. Melo and Paul George can leave in the offseason. He's going to be 30 next year. The Thunder have kind of scraped the cupboard bare a little bit to get Paul George and Melo. Let's say Russell Westbrook turns 30, these guys leave. You don't want his prime years of that extension without stars around him. So he's got to foster a nice environment to get all these guys involved, because the last couple of years that hasn't happened under Billy Donovan and the Thunder. They've been last in passes, dead last in passes. Melo's got to get the ball. Paul George's got to get the ball. Obviously, Russell Westbrook has to get the ball. You just got to foster a great environment there to keep those stars around.
Why do you think, though, he signed that extension then now? If you think, like, perhaps he's worried that these guys might leave, why would he sign it now? Is it just for the money?
I don't think he's worried. When I say he's under the most pressure, I know Russell Westbrook says, I'm not under pressure at all. He's extremely pumped to be in Oklahoma City. I don't think he feels it at all. And if guys don't want to play with him, I think he says, screw it. But I'm sure he'd rather have those guys be there.
And he definitely has to change his game. I think that is the pressure, because the way he's played last season obviously is not going to happen again this year. And like you're saying, even when Durant was around, it's not going to work having 3 guys who really need the ball. And you know Russell's going to be bringing it up most of the time. So he's got to find a way to make it a more egalitarian approach for the Thunder. And honestly, he can be better this year. If he's not shooting the ball 30 times a game, his efficiency is going to go up. He's going to have crazy assist numbers, I'm sure, again, passing to guys who can actually make shots on the perimeter quite a bit. I think it's going to be exciting to see Russell Westbrook, but it's going to be a big-time change for him.
Yeah, the excuse in the fourth quarter last season, particularly in the playoffs, is not going to fly this year because he's got guys he can trust.
What was the excuse? I don't have the teammates that I can trust.
Basically,
to hit these shots.
And he was just throwing the ball up from anywhere, just thinking, I'm going to take these guys, I'm going to get the win by myself. But now he can't do that, and he has to learn, I think, to do that early on in the season. Because if Melo and Paul George feel like, man, we came here, we're trying to help him out, and he's not involving us in the offense in the crunch moments, that's not going to be for a great locker room in Oklahoma City.
Great pick. I like the Westbrook. Anyone else feeling the pressure heading into the season?
Well, I think James Harden actually has got a little bit of pressure on his shoulders this year, particularly how the season ended in the playoffs last year for the Rockets. You've got to look at Daryl Morey. In the last few years, he's gone out and gotten huge superstars. Dwight Howard. Things didn't work out there. He's going to get Chris Paul, another huge superstar. If things don't work well for the Rockets this year, the spotlight is going to turn on James Harden, because a general manager can only do so much. And when you're on the court, it's on the players to make things work. And James Harden, runner-up MVP, we know he can play. We know he's a fantastic player. But also, like Westbrook, he's going to have to adjust his game to allow Chris Paul to flourish as well. Chris Paul's not the sort of guy, he's not a huge scorer, but he needs to feel control, and he needs to see that these two can work together and potentially contend.
Harden in the regular season has never been a problem.
Yeah.
Harden in the playoffs the last couple of years, and you even look back at that series against the Spurs last year specifically, he's struggled. And maybe it is a bit of the case where he's just running out of gas by the end of the year. He doesn't have that really excuse now with Chris Paul, but he was honestly he was pretty brutal in this series against the Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean, he only averaged 25 a game for him, horrible, bad shooting percentages, a lot of turnovers. He was asked to do a lot, but you're right. Now Chris Paul is there. There's no excuses, really. It's going to be tough to make it work. You still got ball handling responsibilities, pick and roll, who's running and all that. But I'm with you on James Harden being under a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah, they're sort of similar scenarios. Chris Paul and Westbrook, stars have joined them. The difference is Chris Paul's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, while Westbrook is the one going to be having his ball in it. So James Harden is going to play off I think, Chris Paul a lot this season. He's going to be pretty pumped to do that, I assume.
What about
gonna have to be.
What about Kyrie Irving?
That's, to me, the guy that is under the most
He
pressure.
said he didn't want to play with LeBron
Exactly.
James.
It's self-inflicted pressure. He left LeBron James, the best player in the world, a team that was going to the finals 3 times. Probably we're going to go back again. He would have had an easy path to the finals. He's replacing a beloved player in Isaiah Thomas, and he has to be great. This is the first time in his career he's really going to be under a lot of expectations as the number 1 guy. First time playing in a system, because Brad Stevens has a different system than he's been in playing with the Cavs. I think it's going to be a major adjustment for Kyrie to play for a team that moves the ball a lot. He said that's what he already likes in Boston, that there's a lot of ball movement. That hasn't always been his strong suit. But it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of subsume his game into a team concept rather than just trying to get a lot of buckets and maybe a couple of dishes here and there.
I think Danny Ainge is under pressure too, because he had all these assets for so long and wouldn't move them, and then all of a sudden he kind of blew up a team that made the Eastern Conference Finals, and this could be the Celtics' best chance to dethrone the Cavs because LeBron.
This year?
Well, it could be. I mean, last year, remember.
He's got these guys for a while, though. He's got Kyrie and
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward for a while.
Yeah, but I'm just saying because last year everyone was like, you had chances to move to get perhaps Jimmy Butler, perhaps Paul George. He didn't make those moves. Now, we don't know exactly what goes on in those conversations, why these other teams wouldn't make the trades, especially when they got lesser talent. But I think Celtics fans are like, well, Danny Ainge had all these assets. We've got to be at least as good as we were last year and at least make the conference finals.
Couple other names I'll throw at you guys. LaMarcus Aldridge, another guy that
Yeah, there's
struggled,
lots of pressure.
struggled when Kawhi Leonard went down with an injury in the playoffs. He didn't step up, and obviously Kawhi, especially with everybody else pairing up, and Chris Paul and Harden, and all the Thunder guys, and the Warriors already got their guys, and other teams in the East. I mean, Kawhi needs some help, so he needs LaMarcus to get back to being that all-star LaMarcus. I think you could throw in maybe an Andrew Wiggins, who
Definitely.
just signed his massive contract extension. Now there's a little bit more pressure for him to make it work with Butler and Towns. And maybe even Kristaps Porzingis. Now that Melo is gone, you're in that New York media where all eyes are on you. He is now being asked, at a very young age, of course, to be the star player on that team. You know, expectations for the Knicks are not super high. No one's expecting them to win 50 games. A lot of people don't even have them making the playoffs. But he needs to prove, I think, pretty early on here that, oh, yeah, they made the right decision here. I'm the future,
Yeah.
I'm the guy, and let's go with me. But that's pressure comes with that.
Yeah, he's got to look like a number 1 guy. He hasn't been so far in his career a guy you just throw the ball to and he can go get a bucket, which is what Carmelo Anthony was. Now this is Kristaps' team. He's got to show I can handle being the main offensive guy.
Question 66 overall here of our 82 burning questions. Who is your dream starter's guest for this season?
Anyone in the world.
Anyone in the world. It doesn't have to be it doesn't need to be a
Take
player. It
Ellen.
could be
You
anyone.
can take Ellen.
Ellen? No,
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
take Ellen.
Michael Jordan, wouldn't it? That'd be great.
Okay.
Game high.
Heard of him.
I mean, the greatest basketballer ever to play the game.
Is Ellen the GOAT of daytime TV?
Well, it depends. Do we count as a daytime TV
No,
show?
who knows? Time's
But I
always
mean,
changing.
Just imagine we heard, a week or so out, hey, Michael Jordan's going to be a guest on the show. Wouldn't that be great? We'd dedicate the whole show to him. Wouldn't just do like a 5-minute
Okay.
piece with him.
Okay,
Fair enough.
I don't mind that one, MJ. Can't argue that. Hey, MJ, if you're listening, watching, come on the starters
I'm sure
anytime.
he is.
Who do you got, Trey?
I want to get Action Bronson on the show. He started as a chef. He became a rapper. Now he's a TV star. But above all, he's a big-time basketball
Yep.
fan. Every one of his records is going to have a ton of basketball references. He's playing basketball in almost every single one of his videos. I think he would rather be a basketball player than anything else in the world. He would be great to come on the show, maybe cook us a meal. We can just talk shop a little bit. It'd be hilarious.
I'll go back to a player. Steve Nash, I think, would be a blast.
He's already on this show. Every day.
But we had a chance way back when we were the Basketball Jones, a chance to talk to Nash. I guess it was 2010 in New York City. Oh, wow. Throwback Thursday here. I look identical.
Yeah, you look so different.
Not to him. I mean, I just look totally the same. I haven't aged much. But he's so funny. He's sarcastic, obviously. I think we'd have a blast here. Who do you got as a dream guest?
You said the best basketballer ever. Let's go to the top of the league. Top dog, Adam Silver. I mean, you talked to him, and he said, where are the other starters? Why am I getting 25%
Yeah,
of
he
the
got
starters?
the worst one.
We got to see him at the NBA Awards show.
But look how cozy Lee is.
Yeah, true.
We are pretty tight, yeah.
But we got so many
All
things
right.
to talk about. Are we going to shorten the season? Are we going to shorten playoff series? Fly us.
Why aren't we in the All-Star Celebrity Game?
Right, yeah.
Finally
So
widen
many-
the court.
So many things. Those okay. I like all those picks. Action Bronson, Michael Jordan, Commissioner Silver, Steve Nash. Let's hear from you guys, though. Jump on Twitter. I think you guys are going to have some fun answers. Hashtag the starters. Who'd you like to see on the show this year? When we return, is this the year the Spurs finally stumble? We're going to debate that and more in the Up Down Report. Back with the starters, right into the up-down report for 4 more questions from our 82 Burning Questions season preview series. Question 67, gentlemen. Are the Wolves a lock to make the playoffs? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Is this the year? Whoa.
Whoa!
No.
Yeah, let's
Whoa.
do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Lock it up.
I know it's the Western Conference and it's impossible to lock it up, but let's do it. Just for once. They've got all the ingredients. They absolutely have all the ingredients. I think when we talk about Jimmy Butler and Andrew Wiggins playing the same position, we forget Cat is going into his 3rd year.
Sure.
He should be a monster. The GM survey, the GMs called him the best center in the league. They've got every single ingredient.
Well,
No, they
Coach.
don't have every single ingredient. You know what they don't have?
What do they not?
3-point shooting. They were last.
Fair problem, yeah.
They
Fair.
were last in the league last year in makes and 20th in percentage. Now they didn't really address that in the offseason either.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
And that's the bit. You know who their best 3-point shooter is?
Aaron Brooks?
No, Karl Anthony Towns. And that's not good because you need to spread the floor so that he can dominate inside. Now, you don't want him falling in love with the three-pointer. He won't do that under a Tom Thibodeau offense anyway.
Right.
But if you've got guys who can spread the floor, who can really stop Towns down low? Like, a couple of guys are good defenders, but no one's going to be able to stop him. And that's where I think the Wolves' biggest problem is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. ESPN has them at a 93% chance to make the playoffs. I'm more at like at 75 or 80 just because they have to win at least 10 more games to make the playoffs. They had 31 last year. It's probably more like 44 is going to get you into the playoffs this year. There's going to be an adjustment period for sure. There's a lot of new players, a lot of guys who play sort of similar styles. And like you're saying, the shooting isn't necessarily there. The defense hasn't been there either, even though Thibs is the coach. They're counting a lot on the familiarity with Butler and Gibson to kind of teach those guys. It's going to take a little bit. And if they stumble at all, they're kind of behind the 8 ball.
The Wolves haven't made the playoffs in 13 consecutive years.
Yeah,
If
that's
they
why-
don't
that's why-
do it this year,
yeah,
I'm with
I know.
you, Tass. I mean, if they do not make the playoffs with this squad, with Butler coming in there and Gibson, and obviously with a couple more years in Wiggins and Cat, then just move the team. I mean, you're just never going to make it. They have to make it. They absolutely have to make it. All right.
There's so much room to grow with that defense. Isn't it just going to happen organically? I don't know. I'm just being hopeful.
Yeah, sure. Question 68 here, guys. Is this the year the San Antonio Spurs fall off?
Get out of here.
Okay. I'm sorry I asked.
How
dare
you? No, they're actually the opposite of the Timberwolves for me. They last year led the league in 3-point accuracy, 17th in makes. But this year, they're going to have other guys, Bertans, Bryn Forbes in the preseason, shooting 3-pointers. They've already got Danny Green and Kawhi who make over 2 a game. So the Spurs understand that even though they don't have the talent that they've had in years gone by, they have a system and they understand how you have to play in the current format of the league. Shoot a lot of threes.
So death, taxes,
Spurs
win 55 games.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I think a better question is how do they catch the Warriors? Because that's what they're focused on. They had the lead in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Now, Kawhi's got to be healthy. LaMarcus Aldridge has to be better, but they started off well, I think, in the offseason by LaMarcus saying to Greg Popovich, hey, I'm not used to this. I got to get the ball a little bit more. I think they're going to focus on him a little bit more in the paint this year. You know, sort of like Chris Bosh with the Miami Heat, sort of like Kevin Love with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're going to get to him early. And Rudy Gay is key for them. I know he's a guy that hasn't won a lot in this league, but to me, he is like their Andre Iguodala. He can unlock their death lineup a little bit, coming off the bench, being that Swiss Army knife. They go 4 out, you know, with LaMarcus Aldridge in the middle or Pau Gasol in the middle. They can match up with the Warriors if all things go well.
All right, before I ask you question 69, nice. I want to show you the Coach of the Year favorites. Okay, this is, coming straight from Vegas here. Brad Stevens of the Celtics. Your favorite to win Coach of the Year at 4-1 odds, and you see the rest of them there: D'Antoni, Kerr, Donovan, Lou, and Pop. The question: should Brad Stevens be favored on this list to win Coach of the Year? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Couple thumbs down. Trey says yeah.
They were the number 1 seed last year. They had a chance at the number 1 overall draft pick. We know that didn't happen, but there's been such major turnover. I think that with Brad Stevens being a sort of system coach, working all these guys in and making them as good as they were last year kind of is catnip for voters, right? If you see major superstars coming in Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, and they're able to kind of fit into that team concept and move the ball around, Brad Stevens is going to get a lot of
even if they
credit
don't,
for
even
that.
if they don't win a whole lot more games, because
I guess I'm assuming they're going to win more games.
more games, but 60 maybe. That's.
I mean, if they win 60
ceiling.
games, he's going to win Coach of the Year for sure.
I think the problem is, though, just with all these new guys incorporating them in, they're going to get off to a bit of a bumpy start because we've just seen that through history, especially go back to the LeBron in Miami days. It takes a little bit of time. Steve Kerr at 7-1. I would take that because I think the Warriors are going to win close to 70 games. And
Yeah,
Steve
but the
Kerr didn't
expectations
even-
are so high.
Yeah, but so what if he wins 70 games? How can he not win Coach of the Year?
It'll
Really?
happen.
He
It
didn't
could
even
happen.
finish he finished 7th last year, and they won 67. I think we just overlook coaching, and we sort of just say, well, he's got a great team, so he should get a 65
Well, it's happened
win.
to Pop
Of course
before
it
a
has,
number
yes.
of times.
But yeah, 7-1.
Okay. You like that one?
Yeah.
All right. Are you a betting man, are you? That's why you're a
Sports
betting
book,
man.
you
I spoke to my friend Cam Stewart. He said to get on him.
Cammy Stewart.
Stuart, shout out. Everyone in Canada gets that. All right. Question 70 here, final one of the up-down report. Will the Grizzlies miss the playoffs for the first time since 2010? You're talking about the West being
This is
stacked.
painful. This is painful.
Wow, I can't believe we agree.
No,
They're not gonna make it.
Wow.
No, they're not gonna make it. They're not gonna make it anymore.
Why? Tell me.
I think this is the end of the era. The guy, they've been there for so long, and I'm talking specifically about Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. Since 2007 for Conley, 2008 for Gasol. You know, the Tony Allen, Zach Randolphs are already gone. I think at some point the era just sort of has to end. And they have to move on. And Marc Gasol is 32 years of age. He's signed for another couple of years. This is peak Gasol. I love the man. I love this era. But it may just be time to move on. And this may be the time where you get peak trade value for Marc Gasol.
Yeah, and you just got to look at the other guys like Chandler Parsons, Mario Chalmers is coming back off an injury, and Tyreek Evans, who's had an injury-plagued career as well. On the surface, those guys are not too bad players, but I'm not sure how much you can rely on those guys.
They all have to be good. Is the
Yeah.
major problem is that we've seen Conley and Gasol be good for 20 games where they're like a major offensive superstar. They have to do that for an entire season.
Yeah.
They have to stay healthy for an entire season. They have to get production out of all of their guys who are kind of 50-50. Are they going to
Exactly.
be good this year or not? Everybody has to play well for them.
Yeah.
And then you add that to the loaded
Exactly.
West, and that's why
It's
you guys
tough.
are going with the thumbs up that they might miss it. Well, let's hear from you guys on Twitter, #TheStarters. Will the Grizzlies miss the playoffs for the first time since 2010? Let us know. We got to take a break coming up, though. Ooh, baby, who is king in the clutch? It's Trey versus myself in another epic Crossfire showdown. Come on back.
Welcome to Crossfire. This is how it works. I'm going to give these two guys 3 questions, and at the end of it all, I will declare a winner. And remember, this year, the winner stays on. Here we go. Question 71. We all have our favorite teams, like the Raptors and the Bulls, but tell me, who is your favorite bad team? Here we go.
Well, personally, I am pumped for the Lakers. I cannot wait for the Lonzo Ball era. I personally think he is going to be a transformative player, going to change the Lakers. I also can't wait to see what Brandon Ingram does this season. Why do the Lakers want to keep him? And they've got the buzziest player in the league, Kyle Kuzma of the Lakers. Lakers. They might be playing for 13th, but they're going to be fun.
All right, give me the Kings. Let's stick in California. They got a brand new arena. They got great jerseys. Love the purple. And they got a super young squad. De'Aaron Fox, already my favorite rookie, and not just because he came on the starters in Summer League. Great kid.
Fair.
Fantastic two-way player I think he's going to be. Buddy Hield gets buckets. Got some nice athletic bigs in Scal and Willie Cauley-Stein. I'm excited for the Kings. They're not going to win a whole lot of games, but they're going to be a really fun team to watch.
Good start, good start. When the game is on the line, some players want the ball and some players don't. Who is the most clutch player in the league? Let me hear it.
All right, earmuffs, Skip Bayless. LeBron James. LeBron James is the most clutch playoff player of his generation. And that's no knock on your Melos or your Kyries or your Lillards or any of your Warriors, but in the fourth quarter or overtime of playoff games with 5 seconds or less left in that quarter, shot to take the lead, LeBron is 5 for 12 in his career. 5 for 12 in those situations. I want the ball in his hands. He's either going to make the shot likely or he's going to even find someone to hit it for him.
Stats schmats. I'm going with the guy who hit the biggest clutch shot of the season last year, Kevin Durant. He might not have the total numbers, but there's...
Recency bias.
Oh yeah, like you're gonna be sad about Kevin Durant taking the
I'm not going
last
to be
shot.
sad.
I mean, also, look who he's hitting this shot over. This was possibly a championship-winning shot right in LeBron James's face. That's a pretty big clutch shot. Nobody's mad about Kevin Durant taking a last-second shot. Are you kidding?
I'm not mad. Time
mad?
for round 3, question 73. Time for the Tony Delk Award. Which unlikely player is going to join the 50-point club this season? Let me go.
You want an unlikely player? How about Bruno Caboclo? He's in the 2014 draft.
Bruno, you are 2 years away from being 2 years away of ever
You're
winning this.
wrong, my man.
No
He's
way.
only 1 year away.
No.
And I'm not talking about the 50-point club in a game. I'm talking about a 50-point club in the season. The man has 27 total points in his career. I think Bruno is going to get to 50 career points this year, maybe even 50 for the season.
I already gave you my answer to this in part 5 of the season preview series. I'm doubling down on Tim Hardaway Jr. He's scoring 50 in a game.
Bruno Cabot,
Hey, Lakers in a game, man. Yeah, I think he's going to catch fire, hit 8 or 9, 10 threes. He'll get to the line a couple times, a couple fast break points. I think Tim Hardaway Jr., I truly believe this, is going to go for 50 at one point, probably in Madison Square Garden this season.
That was a good round, good battle, but I'm going with
Trey Kirby.
Good battle, man. Good battle. Oh.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, will you?
Bruno, you will.
Final break when we return. The fans decide whether this is the year the Wolves end their playoff drought. Come on back. Welcome back to the Starters. 2 games on NBA TV tonight. We got the Mavericks versus the Hawks. I'm heading over to catch that game. It's right across the street at Georgia
Fortress?
Tech here. No, not at the Fortress. No, at Tech. Later tonight, Kings and Clippers on NBA TV. All right, let's check the Twitter poll results. We asked you guys, where will the Timberwolves finish in the West this season? 51% of you say in that 4th to 6th spot, which I think makes sense. 39% saying the 7th or 8th spot, 8% out of the playoffs entirely, and 2%, some Wolves fans out there saying, oh yeah, baby, top 3 in the West. Thanks to everyone for playing along with the poll. Coming up tomorrow, it is part 9, the final chapter of the Starters NBA season preview series. We're gonna get into the biggest name to be traded this season, who will be the worst team in the league, always a fun one.
Yay.
And as we always do in Chapter 9, the final part, we make our NBA Finals predictions. I will be shocked if it's not, some sort of Warriors, Cavs, and who you go with, but we will find out. We're also going to find out tomorrow that the drop has returned.
Woo.
That is right. Our hour-long plus podcast. We'll get it up around noon, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Check for it on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. Always a blast. The Drop Podcast. That's tomorrow. And like I said, part 9, the final part of our 82 Burning Questions season preview series, 5:30 p.m. Eastern here on NBA TV.
Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. Join us tomorrow. And remember, our control room, is really bringing it this season. Look at that.
Brace the night, people.